Hey, welcome back to the Try Life On podcast. Listen, today's conversation is about something I deeply respect, boldness before permission. I was down in Miami a couple of weeks ago and I attended the Miami Film Festival with an executive producing partner that I have in the media and film and TV space. And I was there for the premiere of a feature documentary by the name of Mad Woman's Game. It's a chess documentary Ooh, following the story of Bianca Mitchell-Avila, who's just an amazing young lady. And she's 21 years old, but she had an idea for a documentary, which we get into in the podcast when she was 15. It's not necessarily the idea that sparked this particular podcast episode. It's much more her psychology on pushing forward to get the idea to be part of her reality. Effectively, she was consciously creating her amazing reality at age 15, and she's now 21, reaping the benefits of it. And I get to call her a friend, and she's part of my business circle in a way. There are so many people who want to do things and they just keep waiting. They are waiting for confidence, they are waiting for the right credentials or waiting for the right timing. Or, like most things that happen in life, they're waiting for someone to validate what they already feel inside. But every once in a while, you do meet people who just move first. And that's why I brought Bianca to the podcast. Her story pretty much stopped me in my tracks. Not only did I go to the premiere of her documentary at the Miami Film Festival a couple weeks ago, but I was actually on set in Paris. A friend of mine, Zach Zamboni, was the director of the documentary, and then Carla Berkowitz, who's a business partner of mine, was the executive producer on the project. The project is also executive produced by Keanu Reeves of Matrix fame, of course, which is very relevant to trying life on. But it's not necessarily the Keanu connection that makes this so amazing. It's how Bianca did it. So, like I said, as a teenager, she had the idea for the documentary centered around women in chess. Most people would have written the idea down, talked about it, maybe waited until someday, but she did not. She reached out boldly. She trusted her instincts. She turned an unconventional idea into the Mad Woman's Game documentary with support from people like Keanu, Zach, and Carla. The episode, though, we get into more than just the film. We get into the courage, the initiative, the creating before you feel ready. That is trying life on in its finest. And about trusting the pull of that inner voice that is telling you to do something. And I tell my clients this all the time. You just do things without care of the outcome. Do not define the outcome because if the outcome doesn't meet your expectations, then you'll feel like a failure. What Bianca was trying to do is to make a small local documentary, but because she just went with it, it ended up being a documentary tied to very incredibly talented people, something that is international and is being shopped by the likes of Keanu Reeves and the Ultra Boom production company. So whether you are 16 or 56, there's something in here for you because life often opens for people willing to make the first move. That, my friend, is trying life on, and that is Bianca Mitchell Avila. Welcome to the Try Life On podcast. What's happening?
Doing good, doing good. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay.
Yes. Good. Are you back in Albuquerque?
Yes, I am. I'm back in New Mexico. I'm very happy to be here.
You've been busy.
Yes, I have.
I know. I know. Well, today's a chill day,
Okay.
and I know we're gonna talk a little bit about Mad Women's, of course, but believe it or not, one of the reasons I wanted to just get you on was because of the psychology of you. There are
Okay.
things that I see about you since I've met you, and then finally when I saw you down in Miami at the Miami Film Festival. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, that was dope. Actually, I have to tell you, that was my first film festival ever. That's just not the space that I typically roam in. So you gave me a new part of my life as well.
How'd you like it? I love festivals.
I loved it because I'm starting to understand. So I'm very much we'll go back to the thought process before, but I'm very much a technical. I was a technical oriented brain. And since my life has shifted, let's say in the context of a Bianca or Carla or Zach, I've become very creative, but more
Okay.
so paying attention to creativity when I see it. And I'm just like, where do these people come up with all these ideas to include the cinematography of what you did with Zach?
Yeah. I love I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous, but
Don't be nervous.
uh I love festivals because like you just really do see all of these creative people. Like I was there the entire time and I
Yeah.
talked to so many people and you see everybody's so passionate about their projects and the next projects that they're working on. And it's really cool because I asked the this one question constantly to a bunch of people. And I'm sorry, I know we're like barely starting, but um
Yeah, we can go right in.
I asked this one question to a lot of people, and it was like my constant question that I'd ask. I was like, "What's your favorite project you work on?" And I think every single person I asked said the one I'm working on right now.
The one I'm working on right now.
And
Yeah.
so I think that was really interesting.
I thought it was interesting too. And you, my dear, are a very interesting person. So I'm gonna approach this a little bit different than I normally do. I just want to read you something.
Okay.
Okay? All right, let me rock with this. So it's something that I saw on you in Variety. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. And it says when Bianca Mitchell was 16 years old, she first had the idea for the documentary that became Mad Woman's Game. The premise was simple. It would highlight and empower the real life women conquering the male dominated world of chess. Following Mitchell Avila, did I pronounce
Avila.
that right? Avila. Okay. Following Mitchell Avila, her journey across America as she prepared for an epic final battle of the game against a star people look up to. Immediately, Keanu Reeves came to mind as the ideal opponent, which I think is insane. And you said, I was like, you know what would be crazy if I had an epic battle with John Wick, which you said to the folks at Variety, and you guessed at Keanu's then manager Meredith's email and fired off a thoughtful note explaining the project and your proposition. I know that he is very busy and may not have time to participate in something so small, but I really wanted to take a chance. You wrote in that message in 2021. And then the next morning, to your surprise, you saw a response from Keanu in your box. Can,
Yes.
explain explain the thought process of what how you were how old at the time and what
I
were you
was
thinking?
okay. So it's a long journey, like before
Yeah.
that even. Like I started working in the industry when I was 13, the film industry.
Hmm.
And I kind of just had this vision for my life. And my dad was always telling me like, what's the worst that could happen if you ask? You're just
Yeah.
gonna get a no.
Yeah.
But what's the best that could happen? You can get a yes. And
Yes.
so I think during that time that I was making this project, I just kind of, I guess, the manager's email. And not only that, I didn't ask anything of him. I only asked for a chess game. That's all I asked. I was like,
Yep.
just play a chess game with me. And, obviously that got scrapped throughout the process, but it was really just like, in my mind, I was like, there really is no like worst answer than no.
Yeah.
And so that's why I kind of just went for it and I hoped for the best and having like my support system, like my dad and my mom, they were
Yeah.
like, just go for it. Like, they, what's the worst that's gonna happen?
Absolutely nothing. I always tell people that not asking is an automatic no.
Yeah.
So you may as well ask. I love the fact that you asked. And don't worry, I would have put a long intro on who you are and how we met
Okay,
and
okay.
our relationship, and everybody who's listening already knows that. But and you were how old when that happened?
16.
You were
Turned
16.
16, 15 or 16.
Yeah. So, most people at 16 are just trying to fit in, right? Right? And you were trying to build something. Where does that come from in you? That psychology, especially so, and it may not feel like it to you because you even as a young person, you have a lot of lived experience already. But for most, they don't have that. So where does that come from?
When I was 13, I remember my dad told me this thing. I was, we're when you're in school and you're growing in the school system, the biggest question like you get from like very little is what do you want to do with your life? Like what do you want
Yeah,
to do?
of course.
What do you want your occupation to be? And my dad, he would ask me, how do you want to live your life?
Mm.
And so instead of thinking of what I wanted to do, I realized, my dream in life is to travel the world and make art. And so I started building towards that instead of building my life about around what I wanted to do, but how I
Yeah.
wanted to live.
How you wanted to
So
live. Yeah.
I think that kind of idea grew into, okay, well, if I want to do that, how do I get there? And so
Mhm.
I started like at 13, I reached out to, productions. I had my first PA job at 13 on a
Oh,
college
wow.
internship. I worked as a PA on a pilot, and I started a production company with a few friends from those productions. And I just kept going after these things and just wanting to build something for myself.
Yeah. But you have, I mean, I remember what it was like to be well, maybe 16 was a long time ago for me now, but I kind of remember that phase. And there are so many examples of things around you through your friends, kind of like what the crowd is doing, what is popular, what we're all going to on Friday night. Did you feel and Bianca, it's the same thing for adults too, right? A lot of the Try Life On community are people who want their life to be different, but it's very difficult for them to break away from the herd that's going right. Let's say climbing a corporate ladder or something like that. Did you have that sense of resistance from friends or from family members or whoever in your community about why is she acting so different?
I think I did experience that a lot, especially in my school. I think the
Yeah,
people I went to school with, I remember there was this one person, I remember telling them like I want to be this. I want to do this. And they told me to be realistic. They literally were like, be
yeah.
realistic, get your head out of the
Stop your
clouds.
dream.
They're
Hmm.
like, get your head out of the clouds. And I remember hearing that and being like, no. And I think it was really funny. I used to have a business at the age. I started my own art company called Go Wogue, and I used to sell like prints of my art. And kids would actually call me Go Wogue at school to kind of make fun of me for having a business. And that was like
Go
kind of my
Wogue?
nickname.
Wogue?
Yeah, it was Go Wogue. I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to name a company, and I was very like I was 13, so
Yeah.
obviously I named it kind of weird. And
Yeah.
so they used to call me that, and it was like more of a way to make fun of me than like being like, oh, you did this. And so, now I'm like very proud that I started and did all those things, but at the time it did kind of bother me because I was like, well, why can't these people that I'm like mutuals with like support me and
Yeah.
like those type of things?
That must have felt tough. Do you think that that was more from, so you going your own direction? Do you think that was because fearlessness? Do you think it was instinct? Was it inner voice? Was it the push of your parents? Like, where did it come from? Just in reflection.
I think, I think a part of it is being like, it doesn't sound so funny, but like an Avila.
Yeah.
Um, I don't like when people tell me if I can't do something. And so
Yeah.
I
Me
think a
too.
lot of it comes from being like, well, if you say I can't do it, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna be able, like, I want to do it. And so I think a lot of that comes from that. And I think there's also this like part of me that when I was in middle school, I felt like I didn't belong. And I
Hmm.
felt like there was no space in the world for me. And so one thing my dad said was like, well, create the space, you
Create the
know,
space. I
create the
love that.
space, like make that space for yourself. And so I
Yeah.
think there was also that part of like, okay, well, I don't feel like I belong here. I'm just going to keep going until I feel like I do.
You know what? I love I like the way you said it, and I'm probably gonna maybe make that a try life on principle or something like that. But your dad's spot on. Create the space. Obviously had a little bit different of a journey than you, but I tried to quote unquote create space for my dream. After I got out of college, I was playing college football. I didn't really play a lot at University of Virginia, but I loved the game so much. I was devastated with the thought process of not playing football anymore after I graduated college. So I ended up working for a little bit, then went back to grad school, played football again, and I created space by contacting NFL tryout camps.
Oh,
And
wow.
I finally found one that was reputable, that was going to have 8 teams that showed up in Atlanta. And I just went to an NFL tryout. What do I have to lose? Absolutely
Right.
not, absolutely not. Now, I didn't make an NFL team, and I'm glad that my life didn't necessarily go that way because I've experienced so many other things. But to your point, it's very easy to create space if you can just see it and feel it and go after it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so let's talk about going after it because you went after that dream. I know your original idea kind of evolved. What was the original idea you had? And just talk about its evolvement.
So it was COVID, and I think I had just finished one of my internships,
Hmm.
and I was talking to my dad. It was at our dinner table, and I was like, "Dad, I can't stop working. I want to keep working. I want to keep doing something." And he was like, "Okay, well, let's make something of your own. Since it's COVID, we can't really go on set, and you can't really do anything. So let's build something here." And
Hmm.
so we came up with the idea of doing it on my old chess school, like the organization I used to go to when I
Doing
was
what? Like a documentary
doc
or
like
just
about the chess organization that I used to be a part of.
okay.
So that was
Okay.
Learners Chess Academy. They have like a lot of awards and they've done a lot for the community. So I was like, okay, I want to cover them. I want to do a short documentary and submit it to the Rocky Mountain Film Festival Awards, which is the
Mm.
thing here in New Mexico. And at my school, if you got one of those, it was like, okay, really, really good for the school. So I was like, I'm gonna do that. It
Oh.
obviously grew a lot more. Um,
It grew.
and so I got interviewed by the New York Times. I was a part of the US Girls Chess Federation Club.
Mhm.
And I got an opportunity to be interviewed by them, and it was, Queen's Gambit had just come out, and they were like, okay, how did Queen's Gambit affect you? And all these things. And
Mm.
I was like, well, I want to be a filmmaker, and the Queen's Gambit really inspired me. And, there's a part of me that wants to be a professional chess player. I don't think I ever will be, but, I love chess. And so I put that, I told them that. And I remember all the comments, and like, I wasn't the only girl that was interviewed in this like article,
Yeah.
a lot of young women, and all the comments were about like, oh, chess Queen's Gambit made women like chess, and like it's just a chess fad. I could beat them with my eyes closed, and like,
Mm.
mind you, we're all like young girls. We're not even adult women, and there's
Right,
these
and they're attacking you already.
adult men,
Yeah.
attacking us. And so I was like, okay, well, I want to do a documentary about women in chess. I just immediately I was like,
Oh, that's where it came from. Oh, you were actually pushing back on things that were pushing on you.
yeah. So I was like, okay, well, if they think they can beat me with their eyes closed, what about these women? Let's highlight these women.
And for those who don't know, tell us what women are you talking about?
Um, Sabrina Chavans, um, Rochelle Ballantyne, Rusa. Sorry, I don't have all their last names
It's okay.
memorized,
It's
but
okay.
Rusa, Lula.
Hmm. These are
Who else?
worldwide,
Yes,
world-renowned. I don't
chess.
know their exact titles, but
All of them have different titles, so they're all just
all have different
professional
titles.
chess players.
Yeah, and they're fabulous from what I saw in the documentary and
Incredible.
from the few that I met. Um, so so the project evolved. Keanu kind of got involved, and then you met Carla Berkowitz, who is now a friend and really more of a friend, but a partner of mine as well. Can you talk about how you met Carla, and then just here you go with women again backing each other. She's a badass in her own right, and just kind of what that did, and even the connection back to her critical thinking. I think that's important as well because there are common threads in people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I first met Carla, it was actually at the US Girls Chess Federation Club. She
Mm.
and John Leguizamo decided to talk at the club, and they opened it up to comments and like questions. I was one of the first girls to ask a question, and my question to them wasn't about chess. It was about being a Latino in film and
Hmm.
what did they go through, because that is something that's also very important to me. I was doing a research project for my college at that time
Hmm.
about the percentage of Latinas in the film industry above the line, which is one of the hugest minorities in the film industry. And a lot
Okay.
of the times, the roles for Latinos are very stereotypical. So I wanted to talk to them
Yep.
about that because they're breaking
Yep.
that with critical thinking,
Yep.
and making it very Latino oriented and very like a very powerful story. And so I asked her that, and I don't remember what she answered or what Jean Leguizamo answered, but right after I emailed her or texted her on LinkedIn, asked for her to meet with me, and then we talked, and then it just kind of clicked, and she came onto this project, and now I call her my film mom, and like she's become family for me, and like
Yeah.
it's been such an amazing time like working with her and like getting to know her for 6 years. I grew up with her.
Yeah, she's hyper protective of you. I will tell you that. just in conversations I have with her in the background. But I met Carla through LinkedIn as well. I don't know where I was. I don't know, but I met Carla through LinkedIn as well, and the commonality was the critical thinking movie and chess, so there was a common thread there. And then just in talking with each other, we were both lovers of Anthony Bourdain and Parts Unknown.
Yeah.
And Bourdain to me was the brother that I never had because I was traveling in a way that he would travel. So when I saw him on TV, I was like, oh, so I'm not an outcast. I can do these things all by myself and stuff. And then she connected me to Zach, and Zach had worked with Bourdain. It's kind of this big family. But again, I go back to your mindset of not having fear of reaching out to people and creating the space or creating the container. Well, you're a creator now, so creating the container that is your relationship with Carla and the people at Ultra Boom to just create this amazing project, the way that it evolved into Mad Woman's game, did you see it going that way? Did you see it going international like that?
So it's kind of funny. I remember, and this is also the beginning of that project. I remember people
Yeah.
being like, "You're thinking too big. Like, it's impossible." They told me that. And I was
Yep.
like,
Yep.
"Okay, well, I don't care." I was
Yep.
like, "I don't care. I'm going to find the
Yep.
people that will be able to make this the project." Because I think, you know, a big reason why I made Mad Woman's Game and I wanted it to be out there was
Yeah.
because of my, like, my cousins and young girls all around me. I wanted them to all know that anything is possible. You don't just have to do what other people are doing around you. You can do what you want.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it's going to keep happening. So let's say I have a few decades on you, but it's no different than what I've done in business. It's no different than wanting to be a federal agent or a police officer or even a podcast host or now in my current role as an executive producer sometimes, right? It's too big. You should start small. Just like you, I could care less what people think. We are here to express. You are expressing your energy in a way that gets across to people. I want to tell you that. Is movement more for you? And I think I know how you're going to answer this, but talk a little bit about the fact that movement might be sometimes better than getting it perfect. Because you never forecasted like I'm going to do this movie. Oh, a superstar is going to be associated to it, but more so superstar people, because there's an enormous amount of creative people that worked with you on this thing, but you seem to like you just keep doing and not thinking about, oh, it has to be like this, it has to be like this. So talk a little bit about how movement might be better than perfection.
I'll tell you another thing my dad taught me.
Yeah. Yeah.
My dad has so many good quotes. I'm an artist. So
Mm.
I've always told him I want to be a known artist. Like, my dream is to be in the Louvre one day. Like, that is my ultimate
Mm.
goal. But he told me, he's like, you can be the best artist in the world. You can be better than the best painters. But if nobody knows your name, who cares?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what he told me. And so that kind of was like movement. You don't wait for perfection, you just get it out there. Because there's going to be so many perfect things out there, but if people don't know, then who cares?
Yeah. Your dad was clearly a big motivator in your life.
Yes, yes.
I mean, you just keep dropping bomb after bomb about what he said to you while you were growing up.
Yeah. He's always been there. My mom, they been like my biggest supporters. And it's so funny. I have this like normal like ritual before I do interviews or go on to anything. I always call
Mm.
my dad and I'm like, Dad, help me. Like, I need a hype up.
Yeah. And that goes to show we can't do all these things alone. We have to
Yeah.
have a supporting cast, whether it's in our personal life and our business life. But I would say, Bianca, just being around your production, you as a person, and then the Carlos, the Zachs of the world, the Michael Simpkins of the world, is just being around aligned people. There's not, and maybe you can sense this of me. I'm not much of a money-driven person as much as I am more creating something wonderful and being around the right people. And somehow, this is, I think I am reflecting back to you. I believe that our inner self will get reflected back to us in the way people talk with us. Somehow you keep attracting all these people to you, myself included now. I get to be part of your brilliance and project and stuff like that. I think it's just amazing. When you saw yourself up on the screen, was that the first time you saw the whole thing, by the way?
Oh, no, no, no. I
You saw.
watched it throughout the like editing process.
Okay, but first public big screen for
Yes.
sure. Yeah, what did that feel like?
Oh my gosh, I cried a lot. I cried a lot.
You did.
I love the scenes with my mom,
Hmm.
and those scenes are very close to me. I'm like gonna get emotional just talking about it. I remember just my heart beating and I couldn't think and I did not want to look to my like my left or the right because I didn't want anyone to like see me and I didn't want to
Yeah.
see them. Um, it's kind of funny. I have this weird thing, which is funny because like I'm on screen. I have this weird thing about people looking at me, like like if I'm painting and like my parents or my friends or my partner are watching me, I'm like, stop looking at me. I don't want to be watched
Mm,
right now. And
mm,
like, especially when I'm like talking, I don't like listening to myself. And so I don't know how I did that when I already have that. So being there watching it was very scary, but I'm very grateful. And I
mm.
think a lot of people, it went really, really well. And I think people took to it. And I heard there was a few people who actually cried and a lot of laughter, especially during the things where I'm like, why did I say that?
Yeah, yeah,
But I liked it. I enjoyed it. I definitely think I'd be on camera again.
yeah.
Um I think only documentary form because I during the process I learned a lot and
Hmm.
the way I think I kind of relate with you with like Anthony Bourdain. Like what he did was so incredible. He connected people and he
Yes.
learned people's stories and he shared them with the world. And I thought that was so powerful because I got to be in that position. And I
Hmm.
realized I would love to keep doing that and doing that
Hmm.
with chess, not food. But it was a type of experience that I don't think anything will ever be able to like replace.
And you've done it so you've done it so young. I think one of the cool things, just me being a fan and an audience member that day, was I could see myself in your journey. Now you are Latina. You come from a totally different kind of family than I do. I'm a black guy from the Northeast, but I saw myself in you, um, especially when you were going through the decision process of, let me talk to these people about life through the medium of chess. Am I actually going to get to Paris? Am I going to make these decisions? Am I? And these are the types of questions that young folks, and actually everybody, but especially young folks, should be asking themselves and not defaulting to the standard answer, which is talk to the guidance counselor, get a good job, and just get out into the world, which I'm totally against, unless that is what is meant for you, but people want to express. So I think you did an outstanding job. Chess as a medium, are you fanatic about it? Are you wanting to continue down this path of documentary work and uplifting the game? I didn't know where your, like, does your relationship with chess stop or are you still building it in some way?
I've been playing chess since I was 6.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny because like outside of the documentary, I asked the women how did they get there and like how did they use chess to get to where they're at and like,
Yeah.
outside of that. And a lot of these women use chess to make their dreams happen. It's kind
Hmm.
of funny. I did the same thing.
Yes.
And so I don't think I'll ever like stop playing chess. There was a time where I did and I stopped playing for about 3 years during the 13 to about 15 I stopped playing, which is
Mhm.
actually really like common with young girls is they stop playing during those ages for some reason. So that's something like on another topic, but I don't think I'll ever stop playing again. I've been playing, amateurly. I play almost every day just like for fun and I think I'm also a chess coach. I teach
Oh,
chess.
you are. Okay.
Yes, I'm an assistant chess coach. I actually am at the Learners Chess Academy. Um,
Okay.
so where I learned how to play. I teach in elementary schools,
Okay.
and I love it. I love it so much. I think seeing the students like we do puzzles, and those
Mm.
are like little things where it helps you learn strategy and tactics, and seeing them like realize the answer in their head is probably like one of the best feelings because then they like come run up to me and they're like, I got it. And I'm like, good job. I give them hints and stuff, but seeing them work through that like problem solving in their head and just
Hmm.
realizing that like this could help them throughout their entire life.
It can. And that's the thing. It's a problem solving. It's a very brain driven, I don't know the right word, but mindset driven game, let me ask you this. What has chess taught you about reading people? And let me put that in a box. You are this amazing young woman who I've now met. You are associated with some incredible people who I still have the weird aura of being in the room of the Carlas and the Mikes of the world because of what they're. I like people who create. I genuinely like people who create. But you found yourself in these relationships. How has chess kind of helped you to break into these kinds of relationships and maintain them?
I think, oh, that's a hard question because it's
Yeah.
so like it's so philosophical. But I guess chess has helped me in the way that like realizing one step ahead of the other. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of like the general idea. But I have an idea. I'm like, okay, well, this person would definitely help.
Yeah.
But how do I get there? And then, when I get there, it's not just about getting something, it's about creating a relationship. Like all
Yeah.
these people on these project, I consider family. And I I've been in the industry for a while now and I've seen a lot of horrible things and I've experienced things and you
Mm,
can realize it is cutthroat. When I went to college and they taught me that, you don't really think it, but then you're in it and you realize, yeah, it is. And so once you find those people, and I think that comes to like reading people, once you
yep.
find those people that are genuine and just love what they're doing, you hold on to it because it's hard to find in the industry.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I remember um Sugar 23, one of their mottos when I first met them was
Mm-hmm.
like just treat people with kindness. That was like
Mm-hmm.
one of their biggest
Mm-hmm.
mottos. And I remember like, it's rare to hear in the industry, like, okay, that's interesting. And so, I brought that with me everywhere and with all my, in the industry, in life, and with everybody, like, there's so much out there to share. We don't have to have it all for ourselves. And I know I was kind of going all through over the place with that,
No,
but
that's
I
great.
guess, yeah, that's a little bit about like how you read people in chess is you just find people that are genuine.
You find people that are genuine, and I would say, like, even me tracking you down to get you on this podcast, I can see a rising star. And I don't mean from a movie perspective. I mean from someone who's making unique decisions for her life that are uniquely yours. You own it, you find relations to it, you cultivate it, you get the project out there. By the way, your drawing is incredible. When
Thank
I
you.
met you in Paris, I was like, this young lady is just kind of all over the place, but she's all over the place in a good way. I don't know how she's doing all of this. Um, you're 20, you're 21 now?
21 now.
You're 21. Congrats, you're legal, technically. You were
Thank
legal a long time ago.
you.
But Bianca, you're 21 and you've moved through a bunch of identities already. I don't, I'm just going to take a step back, at least from my perspective. Maybe you can highlight some more that I don't know about, but you are an artist, technically a frontline actress now from a documentary perspective. You executive produced in your own way. You do your art as you know. You are also a chess phenom in your own right. That's a lot of identities for someone who's barely just made it through high school. Does it, can you talk a little bit about just the blend of all of those things, as opposed to just, I'm someone who's going to go to college or something like that?
I think I held on to everything that I loved as a kid. I think a
Mm,
lot of times people lose that because of bullying and, being like, okay, well, you gotta stop liking that because whatever reason, right? Because I told you
yeah.
so, and who told you that, right? I held on to everything that I've loved, and I don't ever want to stop creating. And I never know what that means. Like I paint, I do clothes, I do,
Mm,
I write. I want to write a book. That's actually something that's in the works. I want to publish a book about my 6 year journey. And that's always been a dream of mine is to have a book and have a poetry book because I like writing poetry. And yeah, I play chess, I play Pokemon, I play video games. I like doing so much and I don't want to stop experiencing life and I don't want to stop learning things that I love.
yeah. I would encourage it. And I turned 50 last year in August. And when folks ask me what I do now, I tell them I'm just an adult kid at this point. Because for all the things you know about me, the business stuff, I've kind of put it all down in favor of what you just said, which is I just want to have fun. and I want to express myself with whatever comes out on a day-to-day basis. Now, I've created the space, as you say, put business down and took care of myself. And now I find myself being even more creative and expressing my energy and stuff like that. So I want to be like you. I'm actually by saying it, I'm encouraging you to keep it because what tends to happen, and this is me maybe being in a big brother sense in a way, but I did 2 decades in corporate, 2 decades in the military, almost 2 decades as a police officer, and just 3 decades as an adult. And people lose their childlike wonder. Adults have totally forgotten how to explore in favor of, and it's not their fault, and I'll explain it, but in favor of repeating the same thing day in and day out, day in and day out, to the point where they're repeating a script that's unconscious and they don't know it and they can't break out. If you can keep that joy the way you're keeping it, I wish most people would keep it that way and just explore life a little bit more. And I would encourage you to keep that, but I know there's fear for people on doing some stuff. So just as we wrap up, if someone feels called to something bigger, like you were called to something bigger from your inner voice to do this project and to do many of the things you're doing, you're more than Mad Woman's game, by the way, to me. That's just one
Thank you.
very small aspect of you. But if someone does feel the call for something bigger and that fear is loud to them, what would you tell them?
Face it. There's so many times where I've been like, I don't think I can do this. I'm so scared, like cold calling emails, walking up to people and just straight up asking them for help.
Yeah,
And also just being on camera. I'd never done that before. I remember like sleeping in my bed in like the months beforehand and I'd just be like, I'm so scared.
yeah.
And it's just facing that fear. And once you face it, it just becomes easier and easier.
It does. And I tell people that fear to me is just a thought. It's not real. If you can have thoughts about your thoughts, you can kind of sense where it's coming from and address it that way and just
Yeah.
knock it out. Danger is real.
Yes.
Danger is real. Fear to me is not real. It's just something you just have to get over. So what's next? What's next? Now, tell me what's next with Mad Woman's. Tell me what's next with you and where you're headed creatively and personally.
So Mad Woman's, we're on the road to selling it,
Yep.
hopefully get into more festivals and things like that. There's a few things lined up. Can't say anything though.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm working on a book. I'm working on a new docu-series, which I'm very excited about,
Sweet.
and a few other film projects, local projects.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, the main reason why I wanted to bring you on the podcast for Child Life On is just for people to see that you can have that spirit at any point in life, to not be afraid to reach out to people, to not just jump and course correct along the way. And you've certainly done that. And you also, by the way, you helped me out because I got a special thanks in that movie, and I'm like, oh, I feel. I was like, I feel very much part of the team. And when I was kind of setting this whole rig up this morning, I was like, you know what? And I want you to realize this too, and I think you probably do, but I was like, oh, Carla's my girl. Zach's my guy. Now I have Bianca in my camp. I have a call with Mike later. It's wonderful to be in these creative kind of families that are figuring some stuff out together. So I just wanted to thank you for pulling me into your family.
Thank you for being here. I'm so happy that we met.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right, Bianca. Hey guys, this is Maurice, host of the Try Life On podcast, and thank you for listening to another episode. I hope you are finding it useful in helping you design your own lifestyle that you don't need a vacation from. If that's the case, please consider dropping a review for me, whether in Apple, iTunes, or in Spotify. Drop a review, put some stars on it. Give me some feedback on how I can make the podcast better, what information you are looking for. I am doing my best to get information to you on the Try Life On principles, the 5 freedoms, how to build lifestyle, travel hacking, all of it. And I want to do it for you. So please do a review for me. And until next time, my name is Maurice Philogene, and this is the Try Life On podcast. Peace.